MLA In-Text Citations Part 1. Before we talk about in-text citations directly, let's talk about how you determine which sources you use in your writing. In addition to making sure that you are citing sources correctly, you must also be a thoughtful, conscious user of sources. This means you must evaluate your sources carefully. Just because something has been published, especially if it's been published online, does not mean that its information is accurate or should be taken automatically as being valid. The first rule of evaluating sources is to trust your gut. If a source's info seems fishy or you see a lot of typos or broken links, then that is a source to avoid. The second rule is to take a careful look at a source's credibility. An article from a major news source like CNN.com or MSNBC.com should be fine. An article from a private individual's webpage might be okay, but it might not. You have no reputation there and no guarantee of accuracy or validity. For example, a few years ago, the first website that came up when you searched for Martin Luther King Jr. was a biography of him that looked pretty good. However, if you trace the website back to its parent organization, it was sponsored by a white supremacist group. Now, since the goals of a white supremacy group and of Martin Luther King Jr. are in opposition to one another, obviously that meant that researchers would need to be skeptical of the information on the website and how it was presented. Third, look for specific sources and avoid general ones. This means no Wikipedia or other encyclopedia-type sources. This is because an encyclopedia, Wikipedia included, offers a broad overview of a topic and is composed of information gathered from other, more specific sources. Encyclopedias are where you go to do research when you are in middle school. At the college level, you need to be doing deeper, more meaningful research on your subject. Fourth, consider the date of a source and if you need to look for more current information on the topic. Fifth, look beyond the web. There are a lot of good resources on the web, but if that's the only place you look, you miss out on others. Don't be a lazy researcher and make sure that you're looking at other types of sources also. In-text citations are what you put in parentheses in the main text of your paper to indicate that you are giving credit to a source. They are also sometimes called parenthetical citations. Generally, in-text citations include the author's last name and the page number, as pictured here. However, there are some exceptions, and we'll talk about those shortly. Before we get into the specifics of in-text citations, we first need to make sure that we're all on the same page about some key vocabulary and concepts. First, let's talk about using direct quotes. A quotation is a set of words taken verbatim, which means word for word, from a source. You are literally using their words. When you do so, you must always be clear that the words are someone else's, and you must replicate them exactly. You do this by including them in quotation marks, including an in-text citation, and using introductory phrases like, according to Smith, who has studied the problem for many years, before starting the quotation.